July 28th, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. Here's what the chart looked like today. So from Friday, there was this large overnight spike. Well, not really overnight because this is from Friday and this is Sunday night. There's this large spike, then a sell-off. It closed the gap, kind of went down in one leg push-up, made a second leg. It kind of looked like it was in a sideways consolidation for a little bit, sold off, bounced, broke this orange up channel, tested the highs 2 times. I found that maybe there was some kind of yellow down channel that was being obeyed right around right here. And then I actually took one trade right here, which was profitable. And then prices moved down, looked like it was like 2 legs, hit the bottom, sideways consolidation, and then rallied back pretty much to where the Friday close was. So it looked like it overshot, came back down, and in the regular trading hours, it looked like it just really pretty much sold off a little bit, and then in the last 20 minutes, rallied back to where it closed on Friday. There was no economic data that really moved the markets today. The volume was it was higher than Friday, but nowhere near super high volatility. In the pre-market, sold off, kind of bounced, went up, hit the pre-market high. Looked like it was 2 legs, but then I later turned it into one big leg because the initial leg, when it broke, it kept going down. So I looked for a larger channel, ended up with this one. Went sideways, bounced up, and still in the pre-market it sold off. So on the open, there was an open here. It only is a first entry short. EMA is acting as resistance right now. It's starting to move sideways. Technically, you have a new high, localized high. First entry long pullback. Second entry long is a bad signal bar. I also saw it as a visual first entry, second entry. But this, it was hard for me to argue there was a triple test here. You could argue maybe there's a triple test, but I didn't really trust it that much to go long here. Plus, there wasn't that much space before it hit the EMA, so I was more just waiting. Pushes up, sells off, comes down to here. Keep in mind, this yellow down channel doesn't exist yet, and this blue trading range doesn't exist yet. So this is what I'm looking at in real time. I suspected there was some kind of potential trading range where this red resistance is, and then this blue. Later, I moved the blue trading range up here. There's a new low, technically of a first entry short, but I looked at it as a first entry short pullback, second entry short. And in real time, I see this. I'm not preparing to go short yet, even though it had a rejection off this established resistance. The follow through isn't very convincing because it's still above the EMA. And you can clearly see that the EMA is acting as some kind of resistance right now. So now it finally breaks down. So I'm looking for a lower high, ideally in the next couple candles, to hit the EMA and then push down. But unfortunately, you don't get that. Starts bouncing. So I believe the trading range is actually, see if I can drag this down. At the time, I believe this is where the trading range was. It looks like it's respecting pretty well. Here, this is a triple test, so it's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Also one touch, two touch, three touch. So triple test, I actually thought this was a possible trade. I just didn't like that this is an inside bar. And by the time the follow through trigger bar opens and closes, it already pretty much made the 2-point scalp. So it's too late. I was hoping for it to come back to give me a higher low. So this could be a higher low, but I don't like that it's a red doji, not a red doji. I don't like that it's a red candle. So it is a higher low because it's a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, triple test. So there's a trade here. I don't like this higher low, especially seeing this in real time. The follow through isn't very convincing. It kind of closed below the midpoint of this candle. Then the follow through here is doji-ish. Well, not doji, but very neutral. So definitely abandoning all hopes for a trade right now. It would have worked. Prices move up. I'm thinking this is a failed breakout of this potential trading range, which is this blue one right here. Comes down, kind of bounces. So it's like potential failed breakout pullback, but there's really only a first entry long. You could see it as a visual first entry short, second entry short failure, but you need kind of like a higher low confirmation. I don't really count this as a higher low just yet. pushes up, bounces. So it looks like it's a break of this orange up channel, test the high. Now it looks like it might come back down, and it does. So technically it's a new high here. It's a first entry long. Here creates a second entry long. So it's a new high, first entry long pullback, kind of a second entry long. It's not confirmed yet because it didn't break above this guy, but with such a strong bullish candle, I suspect it's going to break above it. I call it an almost trade because technically this big green bullish candle is an inside bar to this one. If it had only broken above this guy by one tick, then I probably would have gotten an order ready, even though this isn't a good signal bar to go second entry long. So now clearly I have first entry, second entry confirmed. I'm looking for a higher low. The higher low would also give you a first entry short, second entry short, second entry short failure. So here it's potential second entry short, but I'm not really that excited about the signal bar. Technically, you have a first entry short, second entry short. Second entry short has failed here, but it feels like a trap. Pushes down, and it bounces. It looks like there's some kind of resistance here. At this point, I was playing with the idea that potentially the trading range might be a little bit higher. Something along these lines. Because it confirmed pretty nicely here. Starts pushing down. At this point, I do draw this. This eventually became a yellow down channel, but it was a transparent. It was actually something like this at one time because I said, okay, it's one touch, two touch, three touch, one touch, two touch, not a third touch. So this could be a channel, but I didn't color it in at the time because I wasn't 100% sure. Prices move down, bounces. So it looks like it's a new high, first entry long, pullback, maybe a second entry long here if this is a bad signal bar. Confirmed second entry long, good follow through. Below the EMA though, I'm not that happy about it. Break of this orange down channel has tested the low. So I'm thinking the downtrend has played out, but there still could be another push to this trading range support before it reverses back up. So it could be break, one attempt up, second attempt up, maybe a push down. So here I'm expecting a push down to here now. But it confuses me because it doesn't break below here and has a break above here. So technically, if a first entry long pullback, second entry long, if only this broke a little bit below and closed at the high, then I'm thinking first entry, second entry, higher low, maybe it's pushing back up to the high side of this blue trading range. But it doesn't do that. Kind of gets a little confusing because these candle bodies are pretty much side by side now. Inside bar to this, so I'm not really sure what's going on, leaving it alone. Pushes down. Okay, so I'm looking for a potential bounce off this trading range support, but it doesn't. It just kind of flushes through. So it looks like it's one leg, two attempts up, another flush down. No real trade setups here. And this is actually right about where the third confirmation is. So it's one touch, two touch, three touch. High side, one touch, two touch, three touch. So I colored in. I said, I like this. Looks like it's a potential down channel. Kind of wide, a little bit some imbalance here, but it looks like prices might be obeying this. So anytime prices get to here, if it's a good, decent setup, I could use this as a key entry point. Same thing on the high side. If it gets close to here for a short, might be a potential key entry point. Which is up on this orange up channel. Technically, I have a first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short. But at the time, I was thinking, could this be my channel? Break, tested the high, another attempt up. Later, I turned it into this. So it kind of fit a little bit better. So I treat it as a break, tested the high, break of this larger yellow down channel right now. Potential fail breakout could move back in, but it stopped short of breaking through the EMA. So I'm just kind of in a holding pattern. Looks like it might be reversing up. So it's actually visually first entry short, second entry short, potential lower high. It looks like it's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long potential failure, but it just finally broke through the EMA. This yellow down channel resistance could be holding. So I'm actually looking for a kind of a lower high confirmation. You don't quite get it. So you do have a first entry long visual, first entry pullback, second entry. Nothing really here. I'm not too clear on what's going on. It's a break of this pink up channel, But this orange one has already broken. One attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. I'm thinking the bullish momentum might be exhausted and might resume back into here, but I'm not too sure yet because the EMA is starting to curl up. So it starts moving down. You don't even get a first entry long. You get a first entry long here below the EMA. I'm looking for another potential push up for like a second entry long failure, but you don't really get that. Technically, you have a second entry long here by the technical count. First entry long, pull back, second entry long, but this isn't very convincing. This is no real setup. It's just kind of technically a second entry long because it broke above here, but it's a doji. The follow through is weird. It's below the EMA. I'm definitely not thinking of going long. I'm not thinking of going short yet either. So now here, I do actually take my first trade because prices look like they're obeying this yellow down channel. Break of this orange has made 2 attempts up. Now it's moving down on this green. It was a break on this green, but I suspect there's going to be another test of the low. You have a new low here. First entry short pullback, second entry short. I like this as a signal bar. It is doji, but it's failing to break above the EMA. It looked like it got a rejection off this yellow resistance. I enter the trade 1 tick below here. So I actually looked from here to here. There's barely 2 points. To get 2 points, I need prices to break below this. So I actually was a little more conservative. I said ATR is a little lower today. Volume and volatility is a little low. I'm not 100% sure about this setup for 2 points, so I only went for 1. So here actually creates a lower high, so it's a new low. First entry short, second entry short, pull back. And when it broke below here, I said, oh, this is actually a lower high here. And this is actually where I got my 1 point scalp. If I had gone for 2, it actually would have given me the 2 point scalp right here, but I did not want to bank on trying to break below this. But in this case, it would have been perfectly safe because if I didn't get filled here, definitely would have gotten 2 points here. But of course, you don't know that's going to do this. You don't know it's going to flush all the way down, test the market, test the low of day, kind of chop sideways. But I was just pretty happy with this trade because considering all things in consideration, reaching for 2 points felt a little dicey. So just going for 1, just happy with it. I chop sideways. Starts looking like it's moving up. It's a new low. First entry short, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but I saw it as visual first entry, second entry. Possible trade here, especially after this close, because it looked like the momentum's pushing back down. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Pushes down, comes back up. Actually, didn't come back up. There's a break here, small break, but it could still be part of this leg. Clear break here. So I'm thinking break of this orange down channel is tested low. Coincidentally, it looks like it might be bouncing off the support of this yellow down channel. So it's 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch. There could be a potential reversal that's looking promising. Starts moving up. So technically you have a new high. You only have a first entry long here. Technically you have a second entry long here. So it's new high, first entry, pullback, second entry. I actually need a higher low, but I'm thinking it might want to test the highs of this. Break of this orange has tested the low. So I'm thinking this low might have been, this sell-off might be exhausted. It might start to reverse, at least push up to this high side, but I need to see a push through the EMA to feel safe. So it did break through the EMA, but actually closed below. So it's like a first entry short, second entry short. Now I'm hoping the next candle is going to tick below this guy, but then close bullish above, ideally, the EMA. It doesn't do that. It just kind of keeps going down. So I'm abandoning all thoughts of going long and potentially testing the high side, and I'm just waiting. So new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. Of course, we can see this. You're not ready to go long yet. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. I'm looking for a higher low. You also have a new low, first entry short, second entry short failure. Could be a higher low here, but it feels a little iffy. Starts pushing up, breaks above. Now I'm just waiting. It looks like it's trying to figure itself out. I thought maybe there's a measured move that was made here from here about here. It's close, but didn't quite get there. Breaks below the EM again. So right now, since it's breaking above and below the EMA, The EMA is telling me it's not super reliable right now as a key entry point. So just wait. Wait for a clear, visible bounce off of some kind of support or a rejection off some kind of clear resistance. If a new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, break above the EMA. I want to see a higher low above the EMA just to feel a little safer. This could be a higher low, but I don't like that it's a red bar. It's too congested, so there's no hope of taking a trade right here. Starts pushing up. Okay, so now it hits the high side of this yellow up channel. Again, this yellow up channel has been reasonably reliable for the resistance and support side, but right now it looks like it's moving up a leg. There's a breakout of this yellow down channel. Technically, if a new low is a first entry short. Unfortunately, it didn't do a touch bounce off the EMA. Now I have a second entry short. Break of the screen up channel is testing the high. Prices might be moving back down. So it's a first entry short, second entry short. In order for me to take a short, I want to see a lower high. But it doesn't. It reverses and keeps going up. So you don't get a lower high. I'm not to keep going short now. Also, this is time of day. It's the last 10 minutes. So it's hard to really trust anything that's going on here because usually traders are closing out their positions or rolling things over. So nothing really left to say about that. Overall, it was another very slow day. Keep in mind the FOMC rate decision is on Wednesday, so I anticipate tomorrow is going to also be very slow. Now, most people think that the rate isn't really going to change, so they don't think Powell and the FOMC is going to change the rate, but they might add some color commentary indicating that they might change the rates, like either lower it, cut rates. Very unlikely they're going to increase rates, but they might cut rates, and that might cause some crazy volatility on Wednesday. But tomorrow, I anticipate will be another slow day. So just have to be extra careful, extra patient, not to start seeing setups that aren't really there, because I have a tendency to do that, especially when I've been sitting for a while thinking I should have taken a trade and getting FOMO on other setups that I thought were there, but I didn't take or didn't initiate. So hopefully, hopefully that was helpful.